Until 2016, Counter-Strike majors only had a total prize pool of $250,000. And then from 2016 till 2019, that was up to $1 million. For the 2020 Rio Major, this was increased to $2 million. But COVID cancelled that event, which is why the upcoming PGL Major is the first time a Counter-Strike tournament has had a prize pool as big as $2 million. This will be split unevenly between the 16 top teams in the tournament, with the grand winner getting to take home $1 million. That's a lot of money. But remember, it isn't this simple. A Counter-Strike team isn't just one person. There are 5 players, plus other people like the manager, and then there's the organisation itself, which likely takes a cut as well. So it's not like the prize money is cleanly divided between the players participating in it. And I'm pretty sure each and every team has a different way of doing things. It's not something I know much about, and I'm not going to speculate. And then, to further complicate matters, is the stickers. You know all those pick'em things that get added to the game in the lead up to every major event, where you can buy stickers and bet on which teams you think will win rounds? 50% of all money spent on this goes towards the teams and organisations taking part in the major. So that will further boost how much everybody gets. How much by? Apparently it can vary quite substantially. In the worst case, a sticker can earn a player less than $10,000. The best case I've heard is from the team stickers, which could bring in perhaps $250,000 or so. But that is of course shared between everybody involved. But this does mean that sticker income is a bigger earner for most teams in a major than the prize money is. I just need to make all this clear, because I don't want you going away from this video thinking that prize money is all that matters, and it's what's keeping the competitive scene afloat. Prize money is just the tip of a very deep, very thick iceberg. And also remember that this is just one major event. There are usually several of these a year, in addition to hundreds of other smaller tournaments that teams can also enter. And then on top of that, teams are paid salaries and all sorts. So this is all obvious stuff, but even I'm guilty of looking at the prize pool and thinking that that's all there is to it. So I got all this prize information from Liquipedia, which I will say is a lifesaver. What an excellent online resource for anybody even remotely interested in the esports side of things, for any competitive game with a major following that you can think of. And Artifact. I also visited esportsearnings, which tries to list all tournaments by their prize pool, and again I found it to be very interesting. Dota 2 dominates the top of the list on this site. Then Fortnite, then numerous others including League of Legends and Rainbow Six. CSGO doesn't even make an appearance until number 61, and this wasn't even a major. Global Offensive has actually had several tournaments in the past with prize pools greater than $1 million, though none as big as $2 million. The World Electronic Sports Games 2016 and 2017 both had a $1.5 million prize pool. E-League has had several greater than $1 million. And Intel Extreme Masters already has 2 different $1 million events scheduled for 2022. So just know that while the majors are typically seen as being the biggest, most important events of the year, Counter-Strike is a big enough scene to host several others every year with similarly sized prize pools. Next, I went and compiled the prize pools from different games, picking the biggest event in 2019 and the largest one from 2021 and or 2022. I tried to omit 2020 because I felt like COVID made it a strange year and unrepresentative of what the prize pools for these games typically are. Though I did feature a Call of Duty event from 2020 because it happened to be the biggest that series has ever had, and it would have been a shame to ignore it. When I started out on this video, I thought I was going to be talking about the prizes and how they compared with each other, but it turns out that most of this video is me trying to explain why you can't trust the figures that you can see here. They're cool to look at and fun to compare, but don't see it as anything more than a novelty because, like I've spent this whole video emphasizing already, the prize pool is just the tip of the iceberg, and each game has a unique situation of some sort to consider. For instance, you won't see Valorant on here. I haven't excluded this game in fear of making Counter-Strike look bad. That game just hasn't been around for long enough to be able to host a major tournament just yet. The first Champions event is just around the corner, but nothing about the prize pool has been announced yet, so I didn't think it was fair to include the game at all. Valorant just hasn't had enough time to reveal its full potential just yet, unlike the others on this list, like Overwatch and Artifact. PUBG is another game with an army of asterisks strapped to these prize pool figures. At first glance, it appears to have just half the prize pool for 2021 that it had in 2019, but that's only because the 2019 event had its prize pool doubled from their own Pick'em Challenge event. Come to think of it, something didn't add up with these numbers, so I did a bit of digging, and it seems like the total prize pool for the 2019 event might have been even more than stated here. This tweet claims that it even surpassed 6 million. So, in addition to all the other reasons you might have for not trusting these prize pools, add to that Liquipedia is a community-maintained resource that isn't always 100% accurate or current. And PUBG's main focus seems to be in the mobile space. Later this year, it's looking to host a tournament with a $6 million prize pool. for gaming on a mobile phone, using your thumbs. But again, nothing about the specifics has been revealed yet, so I didn't feature it on this list. So like I said, enjoy comparing these figures, but don't trust them. CSGO's majors have always been compared to Dota 2's, which on paper look much bigger, and probably are. Dota's international events have their prize pools bolstered by the community surrounding it, buying a battle pass which directly contributes to the figures that you can see on this sheet. CSGO's stickers aren't so transparently shown. Something I do notice about Counter-Strike events is that the winner gets a larger percentage of the prize pool than in other games. It used to be 40%, but now it's 50%. You can see that in other games it's more like 30 or 40% of the total prize pool, and that more of that prize pool goes to the teams who didn't make the top 8. League of Legends, for instance, in 2019, first place earned 38% of the prize pool. In 2021, 22%, with all of the runners-up receiving slightly more instead. You're ultimately weighing up the reward for winning a tournament against giving the losers enough money to keep them coming back for more. Again, it's rather obvious that you don't want the winning team earning everything because, well, there's no benefit to doing that beyond a certain point, while there is a benefit to paying and encouraging the other top teams in each tournament hosted. Fortnite is another game that lets a lot of different teams make a bit of money from being good enough at the game. There's a solo and duo tournament, and both of these events extend the prize pool to the top 100 players. Even the 100th best player in the event receives a very acceptable $50,000. That's a lot of people getting a decent prize in Fortnite's major events. Compare that with the upcoming CSGO major, where 5th place gets $70,000 to share between its 5 players and benefactors. But again, like I said, the prize money is just the tip of the iceberg. I also try to cover older Counter-Strike games. Counter-Strike 1.6 was one of the OG competitive games, but it was a different landscape back then. The esports scene was nowhere near as big, nor as developed. Yet despite that, I was surprised by how big that scene still was. Esports Earnings lists over 1,000 tournaments for Counter-Strike 1.6, with a combined prize pool of $13 million, which is just 10 times smaller than CSGO's is so far. The biggest documented tournament I could see was CPL Summer 2003, which had a total prize pool of $200,000. First place in 2003 got $60,000, which, accounting for inflation, is about $90,000 in today's money. So actually, not that much worse than CSGO's earliest majors. It helps that Counter-Strike reigned for so long, with tournaments spanning across 14 years, though most of this admittedly died soon after CSGO was launched after 12. Counter-Strike Source had a few good ones. CGS in 2007 and 2008 both had a prize pool of close to $500,000, with the winning team getting a respectable $250,000. But beyond that, the other major tournaments that game had were a lot smaller, like the 2005 WCG event that I've listed here. So yeah, interesting. I have to be careful what I say here, having spent this whole video warning you how little the prize pool actually matters, but it is eye-opening to see just how many million-dollar prize pools there are out there being thrown about for so many different games. COVID has definitely disrupted the competitive scene for Counter-Strike, but with Valve doubling the prize pool, it's a sign that they want to get it back on track, and that the game might not be dead just yet. And one more thing to take away from this. Bigger prize pools aren't always better. They might be for the winning teams, but if just one event dominates the year, it could be to the detriment of others hosted during that year and to the scene as a whole. I think it's nice that CSGO has fairly regular major events, but don't forget about the others as well. It's all needed for there to be a healthy competitive scene.